Hello everybody, welcome. Yeah, what I'm doing is as you can see, I am pulling some handles. And this is a clip that's going to be about pulling handles. I think really pulling handles is the best way of quickly making a handle and getting it ready to then put on your mug or your jug or your pitcher or whatever it is. And it's not an easy thing to just do, to learn how to pull a handle. There is a certain craft or skill there that is you need to learn. So I think the reason that we pull handles and apply them is because we get the nicest form of handle, and also the handle looks like it's kind of growing out of the side of the mug. It looks like it's part of the mug. It doesn't look like it's like an appendage that's just added on. Now I know some people, there's different ways of doing handles, aren't there? Some people sort of like to prepare them and then hang them over the side of the table so they get a nice bend to them. Other people like to make them ahead of time and then add them on when they're almost leather hard. But it's not really a very satisfactory way of doing it. Other people perhaps take a slug of clay and just put it on the side of the pot and then pull it off the side of the pot. That's actually okay to do, because that's pretty similar to what I'm doing. So basically, you want to have clay that is, if you've got some clay that is very slightly on the stiff side, that is good to use for handle pulling. The reason that you can have it a little bit on the stiff side is because it's going to be closer to the hardness of your piece. Bearing in mind that the pulled handle compared to the actual piece of pottery, there's going to be a little bit of difference in hardness. The mug in this case is going to be harder than the handle. So when we have these differences between hardness and softness differences between let's say the mug and the handle, that's when you can get cracking occurring. That's what we want to avoid. That's why if you take clay that's slightly stiff to start with and pull that, there's not going to be quite such a difference. Okay? Now another thing you can do, and what my brother Johnny does in England, he has kind of bowl-shaped, rather thick bowl-shaped, bisque-fired bowls, and what he does, he takes the slops out of his wheel and out of his water pots, all the very very wet clay, and he will put that into these bisque-fired bowls, and they will draw the moisture out of the clay. Now that clay is very, very good for handling. He calls it his handle clay because it's very plastic, very soft, very waterlogged. It's very plastic. That's the best clay to use actually for lugging and handling. I don't actually do that. I just use my regular clay, but you'll get a little bit more plasticity, less tendency to break away, etc. Okay, so basically what you do is you get a piece of clay, a little bit, say about that big. I've already pulled this one down now. Perhaps we might be talking about, say, 1.5 pounds, something like that. and then sort of elongate the shape of it a bit before you even start pulling. So it's approximately maybe about this big, and I make a little thing at the top here where I hold it like that, and then I can hit the top like that, you see. See, that gives you a little bit of something to hold on to, which is useful. Now let's talk about the actual pulling itself. Well, get yourself a water pot, a wear board. Are we in the picture? Yeah. Okay. Dip the clay into the water, dip your hand into the water, and you're going to start pulling down clay. Okay, you want to elongate this sausage of clay, pull it down. Okay, now a couple of things to bear in mind. Every time you pull, make sure you pull right off the end. Okay, don't stop before you, say here for example, but pull right off the end. Okay, it's very important. You want to pull down probably about 18 inches of clay. Okay, and now what I do is, let's talk about the cross section. The cross section of a handle should be elliptical like that. Okay, elliptical shaped. You don't want it flat, you don't want it round, you want it kind of elliptical shape. That's a strong shape, but it also allows you to form the handle. So wetting my hand, okay, and holding it like this, I'll pull down like that. Okay, maybe I'll do 2 or 3 pulls like that, and then I'll change to this posture like this. See that? And pull it down. And then I'll turn it like this and hold and pull down like that. Okay? I'm kind of, okay, dip it in the water. You keep it wet, that's the secret. You've got to keep it wet and pull right off the end. Alright, now it's going to bring the camera focus right here. I don't want you to see this. Let's just see if I can get my hands clean a bit before I... Okay, I'm going to now cut this off. I want you to see this. So what you want to do is lay it across the board like that, pull it towards you till it's the same length as the others. Okay, then I want you to take your right hand here and take your thumb. Before we do this, make sure that your wear board is hanging over the edge of your table. All right. Okay. Now take your thumb, using the side of your thumb here, like that. You're going to chop it off. Okay. Now it's quite important to get a vertical cut off. All right. Let me do another one to show you how not to do it, and how a lot of people do it. And you know, while they're learning, until they've learned otherwise. This is fairly typical. Okay, let's just put it over here a bit. You'll put it there, and then people will go like this. Can you see that? That is no good with that kind of ending. Let's do one more so you can see this up close a bit. Okay, just pulling it, preparing it here. Okay, let's do another one. Lay it across, pull it towards you till it's the right length. Now use, not like I did this, like that. You've got to use the side of your thumb, like that, to cut off. Okay? Alright, let's just pull back the camera. I hope that was clear. it does make a lot of difference. You know, this is a two-part operation. One part is actually the handle pulling itself. Now let me just again show you, hopefully you can see that. That's you'll notice that the handle has a kind of spine running down the back in the middle. Okay? Right down here, right in the middle, there's a high point, you see. And then from the high point, it tapers away either side. The back of it is relatively, it's not flat, it's slightly curved. So when you're pulling your handle, okay, as you're pulling it, you're aware that this side is going to be the outside of the handle, and on this side is going to be the inside of the handle. Just be aware of that as you pull. Okay? So it's very important. Let me just see if I can bring this up to the camera. Show you. So you can see, these guys here. They've got a nice, they've been nicely chopped off, you see. Now, there's that one there that I'm touching with my thumb. That one, can you see the difference? That is not what you want. Because that's going to make it difficult for you later when you come to attach. Okay? Wet, move your hand left, right, left, and also change the posture. Okay? Let's just bring this up here. So you can pull like that, pull like that, and also turn it around and pull like that. It's very touchy-feely, and you've got to really learn your own. You'll have to develop your own technique, but I'm just trying to give you some basic tips here. Yeah, it's to become a proficient handle puller. It's almost like learning how to throw cylinders. You know, it does take a bit of time, but just practice. Okay, make lots of mugs and then practice your handles. There's no way you're going to learn it if you don't practice it. It's just goes without saying. Okay. I think I wanted a dozen handles here. So another thing, when I'm pulling, like I've got in fact 11 tankards here I've got to put handles on. So if I've got 11 tankards, I'll always pull 12 handles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it, I've already done it. I've got 12 handles. It's a lot easier just to pull one handle while you're in the flow of pulling, rather than to have to get the clay out again, unwrap it, get it all ready and pull again for one handle. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, folks, I hope that's been of some help to you. Have a go. Get yourself some nice plastic clay. You can use, like my brother does, if you want to collect out of the bottom of your water pots, the sludge. Put that into a nice thickly thrown bisque-fired bowl, or put it out on a plaster bat so it dries off a bit, and then use that to pull for your handles. That will give you lovely plastic clay, as opposed to clay that is rather short. That's the opposite of plastic. We call it short. That means when you bend it like this, as you bend the clay, it kind of cracks open, it shows cracks as you bend it. Okay. If it's nice and plastic, it won't crack. Let's just pull one more while we're here. So you want the handle also. Okay, hang on. Let me just chop this fella off. And I'll just show you another thing that sometimes beginners get wrong. You see, they're trying to pull a handle, and they're not pulling the clay down enough. You see, they've got a little stubby bit of clay like this, and they're trying to get a handle out of it, and then they try and cut it off. You see, like this, and then you get that kind of handle. All right, which is obviously much too tapered. So you want a very, very gradual taper. You see, that's why I'm saying pull down a good amount, at least 16, 18 inches of clay. Pull it down, and then you'll get the taper will be very, 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 very gradual, and that's what you want. You don't want a very thick at one end and then thin at the other. Okay, folks, Simon Leach saying, keep practicing. Go to my website, simonleachpottery.com, check it out there, and yeah, we've got workshops ongoing. If you want to come on a workshop and learn about these things firsthand, then contact me, check the dates, and contact me if there's a date that you want there, and come and join us here. Okay? Hey, take care. I'll see you in the next video. Take good care and keep up the practicing. Bye bye now.